You girls are my property, and I won't ever marry you off to any so-called man. Do you hear me? You will not get married, not today and not ever. Make up your mind now.
The word settled like a curse. In Omulokba, people said Chief Nwanebuike was not just wealthy, he was untouchable. His farmland stretched beyond what the eyes could measure, crossing paths, rivers, and boundaries into places where even neighboring villages whispered his name with caution. Yams grew fat in his soil, cassava flourished, palm trees bowed heavy with oil. But it was not wealth that made people fear him. It was his will. Chief Nwanebuike was a man who did not bend, not to elders, not to tradition unless it served him, not to tears, and certainly not to love that threatened to take something away from him. Suitors had come. They always did. Men with strong backs and clean lineages, men with goats, cows, and jars of palm wine, men whose families arrived with humility, speaking in soft tones, calling him our father. He chased them all away. Some left in shame, some left in fear, some never returned to Omoloba at all. Inside the house, the silence thickened. Adama swallowed hard. "Father," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. Chief Nwanebuike turned sharply. "Do not start," he warned. Nwamia reached for her sister's hand, squeezing it gently, a quiet language they had mastered since childhood. Chinyere said nothing. She had learnt more than her sisters when silence was safer than words. Their father stared at them for a long moment, his chest rising and falling. Then, without another word, he turned and walked out into the courtyard, the sun casting his tall shadow against the wall like a warning carved in stone. Only when his footsteps faded did Adama release the breath she had been holding. "This is not love," Nwamia whispered, her angelic voice breaking. "This is a prison." Chinyere closed her eyes. She loved her father, she truly did. He had raised them alone after their mother's death, had walked the land with his own hands, had given them comfort and safety. But somewhere along the line, love had twisted, and Chinyere was beginning to feel its weight. Unlike her sisters, Chinyere did not stay confined within the palace walls. She found peace on the farms. Chief Nwanebuike trusted her with that, perhaps because she reminded him of her mother, or perhaps because he believed the land would never betray him. That was how she came to know the rhythms of Umulokba beyond fear. The laughter of workers at dawn, the smell of wet earth after rain, the sound of hoes biting into soil. And that was how, on a morning like any other, she met Emeka. He stood at the edge of one of her father's farmlands, sleeves rolled up, skin glowing under the sun, sweat tracing slow paths down his neck. His hands were rough from work, but his eyes were steady, respectful, and alive. Chinyere felt it then, that dangerous, forbidding tightening in her chest. She looked away immediately. My father would never allow this, she told herself, so she buried the feeling. Or at least, she tried. But Emeka noticed her. Not the way men notice beauty with hunger, but the way someone notices light, quietly, with awe. Their conversation started with greetings, then questions, then laughter that came too easily. By the river bank, far from the palace, far from eyes that judged and mouths that reported. From friendship, something deeper grew. Something bold, something reckless, something that would one day shake Omulokba to its roots. But for now, in the palace of Chief Nwanebuike, 3 daughters sat beneath the shadow of a man who loved them too much to let them go, unaware that love, once awakened, does not ask for permission. Chinyere tried to forget Emeka. She truly tried. After that first day on the farm, she told herself it was only a mistake of the heart, a passing feeling, something that would fade like morning mist once the sun rose high. But feelings do not obey warnings. Each time Chinyere went to inspect her father's farmlands, her eyes searched without permission. She told herself she was checking the workers, counting baskets of cassava, watching over the yams. Yet her heart knew the truth. She was looking for Emeka. Sometimes he was there, sometimes he was not. And on the days he was not, the farms felt strangely empty. When Emeka noticed her again, he did not rush her. He did not cross boundaries. He greeted her the way a good man should. His head slightly bowed, voice calm, words careful. "Good morning, my lady." She corrected him once. "Do not call me that." He smiled. "Then what should I call you?" "Chinyere," she replied. He repeated it softly, as if tasting the sound. Chinyere. That was how it began. They spoke about simple things: the weather, the harvest, the river that dried too quickly this year. But slowly, their words changed. They talked about dreams. Emeka spoke of owning a small farm one day, of building a home with his own hands. Chinyere spoke of freedom, though she never used that word directly. She spoke of wanting to choose her own path, of wanting to breathe without fear. They met by the river because it was quiet there. The river did not report to Chief Nwanibuike. Tall trees formed a natural roof above them. The water moved gently, carrying secrets downstream. Sometimes they sat far apart, speaking like strangers. Other times, silence did all the talking. "Chinyere," he said slowly, "I know who your father is." Her heart jumped. "And I know what it means to love you." She stood up at once. "Then you should stop," she said quickly. "You do not know the danger." "I do, and I still choose you." Those words stayed with her long after she returned home. That night, Chinyere could not sleep. She listened to the night sounds of Omologba, the crickets, the distant barking of dogs, the quiet power of her father's presence in the next room. For the first time, she asked herself a question that scared her. If love comes knocking, will I answer? Days turned to weeks. Their meetings continued, hidden but steady. Their love grew, not loud, not wild, but deep. They did not touch much, sometimes just a brush of fingers, sometimes a shared look that said everything words could not. But love does not like to stay hidden forever. Chinyere grew tired of lying, tired of fear, tired of returning home to a palace that felt like a cage. One morning, she made a decision. She would speak to her father. Chief Nwanibuike sat outside watching the workers load yams into baskets. His face was calm, but his eyes missed nothing. Chinyere approached him slowly. "Father," she said, kneeling respectfully. He did not look at her. "Speak." "I have come to ask you something," she said, her voice shaking. That was when he turned. Her words came out in a rush. "If a man comes to ask for my hand in marriage," his face changed. "No," he said immediately. "I have not even said his name," she pleaded. "There will be no name," Chief Nwanibuike replied. "You will not marry, not today, not ever." "Father, please," she cried. "I am your daughter, not your possession." That word hit him like His eyes burned with anger. "I gave you life," he shouted. "I protected you. I loved you when the world had nothing for us, and you repay me with this?" He turned away from her, breathing hard. "You will stay here," he said coldly. "That is my final word." He walked out. Chinyere collapsed onto the ground, crying. Her heart broke. Not because he refused, but because she finally understood. Her father's love had no room for her happiness. When Emeka heard what happened, his blood ran hot. He could have run away. Many men would have. But Emeka chose another path. "I will not steal you," he told her. "I will face him." She shook her head in fear. "No one faces my father." "Then I will start with the elders," Emeka said. That was the day he walked into the council square of Umulokpa, and that was the day he learned that fear was deeper than he imagined. Emeka did not go to the elders with pride. He went with respect. Early that morning, he bathed, dressed neatly, and tied his wrapper properly. He carried no weapon, no charm, only his courage and the truth in his heart. The council square of Umulokba was quiet when he arrived. Old trees stood tall around it, their branches heavy with age. Wooden stools were arranged in a circle, waiting for men whose words could shape lives. One by one, the elders arrived. Some walked with sticks, some with slow, careful steps, some with eyes that had seen too much. Emeka knelt before them. "My fathers," he began, his voice calm, "I have come to ask for guidance." They listened at first. He told them everything about Chinyere, about his love, about Chief Nwanebuike's refusal. When he finished, silence filled the air. The elders looked at one another. Then one of them cleared his throat. "My son," the old man said, "you have chosen a hard road." Another elder shook his head slowly. "A very hard road." Emeka lifted his face. "Please," he said, "speak to him for me." That was when their faces changed. Fear crept in. One elder laughed softly, but there was no joy in it. "Speak to Chief Nwanebuike." Another elder leaned forward. "Young man, do you know who you are asking us to confront?" "He is my father's age mate," one said, "and richer than most of us." "He does not listen," another added, "not even to tradition when it does not favor him." The eldest among them spoke last. "We cannot help you," he said gently. "Go and forget this matter." Emeka felt his heart sink. "But she is his daughter," Emeka insisted. "Marriage is tradition. Love is not a crime." One elder snapped, "Love is not stronger than fear." The meeting ended quickly after that. Emeka stood alone in the square, watching the elders leave one by one. Their backs were bent, not just with age, but with something heavier. Fear ruled Umulokpa. For days, Emeka did not give up. He returned, again and again. Each time, the elders found excuses. "Come back another day. This matter is too heavy. We do not want trouble." Some stopped meeting him at all. Others avoided him in the market. Still, Emeka persisted. One evening, as the sun dipped low, an old elder called him aside quietly. "My son," the man whispered, looking around to be sure no one was listening. "There is one man." Emeka's heart jumped. "One man?" "Yes," the elder nodded. "From another village, a man even Chief Nwanebuike listens to." "Where is he?" Emeka asked quickly. The elder hesitated. "He is wealthy, powerful, proud, and he does not involve himself in matters unless they are serious." "This is serious," Emeka said firmly. The elder studied his face for a long moment. "If you are truly determined," he said slowly, "then you must travel. Find him, kneel before him, and convince him." "Tell me his name," Emeka said. The elder leaned close and whispered it. That night, Emeka could not sleep. He thought of Chinyere's tears, of her quiet strength, of the man who held her future like a closed fist. At dawn, Emeka packed a small bag. He did not tell Chinyere everything, only that he was going on a journey for her sake. She held his hand tightly. "Please come back alive," she whispered. Emeka smiled gently. "I will," he said, "and I will not come back empty-handed." As he walked out of Umulokba, the red earth stained his feet and the sun rose behind him. He was walking towards power, towards danger, towards the only man who could stand between love and fear. Emeka walked for 2 days. The road was long and dusty. His feet ached, but he did not stop. Each step carried one thought in his heart: Chinyere. On the 3rd day, he arrived in the village. This village was different from Umulokpa. The houses were stronger, the paths wider, the people quieter. There was order here. Power lived in this place and everyone knew it. At the center of the compound stood a large compound. That was where the elder lived. Emeka washed his face at a nearby stream and tied his wrapper again. He took a deep breath and entered the compound. The guard stopped him at once. "Who are you?" one asked. "My name is Emeka," he replied. "I have come to see your master." The guards laughed. "Do you know who you are asking for?" "Yes," Emeka said, "and that is why I'm here." After a long wait under the sun, he was allowed inside. The elder sat on a carved wooden chair. His body was big, his eyes sharp. He wore clean white cloth and coral beads. This was a man whose words carried weight beyond his village. Emeka knelt. "My father," he began. The elder did not ask him to stand. "Speak," he said. Emeka spoke carefully. He explained everything, from Chinyere to his love, to Chief Nwanebuike's refusal. The elder laughed. "Young man," he said, "do you know how many people have come here crying about Chief Nwanebuike?" Emeka shook his head. "Too many," the elder continued. "And do you know what I tell them?" Emeka waited. "I tell them to go back home." Emeka's heart dropped, but he did not stand up. "I will not go," he said softly. The elder's laughter stopped. "You are bold," the elder said. "I am in love," Emeka replied. There was silence. Then the elder leaned forward. "If I speak to Chief Nwanebuike," he said slowly, "he will listen. But if you waste my words, I will deal with you myself." "I will not waste them," Emeka said. The elder studied him for a long time. "Then we will go together," he said. When the elder arrived in Umulokpa, the village shook. People whispered. People gathered. People watched from doorways. Never before had this man come to Umulokpa for such a reason. The elder called the council together. Other elders came with him. Even those who feared Chief Nwanebuike now had courage because power stood beside them. Chief Nwanebuike arrived last. When he saw the elder, he stopped. For the first time, his face showed surprise. "My brother," Chief Nwanebuike greeted stiffly. "My brother," the elder replied. "Sit." That alone shocked the village. They spoke for hours. About tradition, about children, about control and love. Chief Nwanebuike argued fiercely. His voice thundered. His staff struck the ground. But this time, he was not alone in the storm. Finally, silence fell. Chief Nwanebuike spoke slowly. "I will not give my daughter to a stranger," he said. Emeka stepped forward and knelt. "Then let me stop being a stranger," he said. Chief Nwanebuike looked at him long and hard. "You will live with me," he said. "You will walk my land. You will wake when I wake. You will sleep when I sleep. If you fail," he added coldly, "you live forever." Emeka bowed his head. "I agree." From the crowd, Chinyere watched, her heart pounding. The test had begun. Emeka moved into Chief Nwanebuike's compound the next morning. There was no welcome, no kind words, no smile. A small hut was shown to him at the far end of the compound. That was where he would sleep. It was hot during the day and cold at night, but Emeka said nothing. Chief Nwanebuike watched him closely. Every morning before the sun rose, Emeka was awake. "Follow me," the chief would say. They went to the farms together. The work was heavy. Emeka carried yams until his back burned. He cleared weeds under the hot sun. He dug, planted, harvested, and repaired broken tools. Some days he was given work meant for 2 men. Still, he did not complain. When other workers rested, Emeka continued. When food was served, he waited to be told to eat. Chief Nwanebuike noticed everything, but he said nothing.
At night, Emeka returned to his hut tired and sore. Sometimes he lay awake staring at the dark ceiling, wondering if love was worth this pain. Then he remembered Chinyere's eyes, and he rose again the next morning. One afternoon, Chief Nwanebuike called him. "Why are you still here?" the chief asked. Emeka answered simply, "Because I gave my word." "You could leave. No one will stop you." "I will not," Emeka replied. Chief Nwanebuike scoffed. "Men like you break easily." Emeka looked up. "I am still standing." The chief said nothing, but his eyes followed Emeka long after he walked away. Chinyere watched everything from a distance. She wanted to run to Emeka, to thank him, to beg him to rest, but she stayed away. Her father's eyes were everywhere. Nwaama noticed her sister's pain. "He is suffering because of you," she whispered. Chinyere shook her head. "He is suffering because of love." One evening, a heavy rain fell. The wind tore through the farms, knocking down yam stakes and washing away soil. Workers ran for shelter. Emeka stayed. He walked in the rain, fixing the damage, holding broken stakes upright, saving what he could. When Chief Nwanebuike came out and saw him, soaked and shaking, something shifted inside him. "This boy is stubborn," the chief muttered, but his voice was softer. Days turned into weeks. Emeka never disrespected the chief, never raised his voice, never spoke ill of him. When Chief Nwanebuike asked questions, Emeka answered truthfully. When advice was needed, Emeka gave it humbly. Slowly, without realizing it, the chief began to trust him. They spoke more. They walked side by side. They shared quiet moments under the sun. One night, as they sat outside, Chief Nwanebuike spoke quietly. "You remind me of myself," he said. Emeka did not respond. "I once was like you, strong, poor, hungry for more." Emeka listened. "I lost everything once," Chief Nwanebuike said, "except my daughters." For the first time, Emeka understood. Fear had shaped this man. That night, Chinyere cried silently, not from sadness, from hope. The morning Chief Nwanebuike called Emeka into his inner room, the compound felt different. Too quiet. Workers whispered among themselves. Even the birds seemed to watch. Emeka entered the room and knelt. "Sit," the chief said. That alone was a surprise. The chief studied Emeka's face for a long time. Then he spoke. "You have walked my land," you said. "You have obeyed me. You have not stolen. You have not complained." Emeka bowed his head. "Many men pretend," the chief continued, "but hardship exposes the truth." He stood up slowly. "I tested you because I do not trust love. Love lives. Love dies." Emeka looked up. "But love can also stay," he said gently. The chief's eyes darkened. "You think I do not know that?" he asked. "I loved their mother. When she died, the world broke." Silence filled the room. "I swore," he continued, "that nothing would take my daughters from me." He turned away. "But I see now," he said slowly, "that holding too tight can also destroy." Emeka said nothing. The chief faced Emeka again. "You may marry Chinyere," he said. The words hung in the air. Emeka's breath caught. "But hear me well," he added coldly. "If you ever cause her pain, I will not spare you." Emeka bowed low. "I will protect her with my life." The news spread like fire. Umulokpa could not believe it. Chief Nwanebuike had agreed. Women whispered in the market. Men shook their heads in disbelief. Elders spoke in low voices. "This has never happened," they said. Adama and Nwaama ran to Chinyere, laughing and crying at the same time. "Our sister," they shouted. "Our prayers have worked." Chinyere covered her mouth, tears flowing freely. But fear still lived in her heart. The wedding had not yet come. and everyone knew that Chief Nwanebuike was a man of surprises. Preparations began. Palm wine was gathered, goats were selected, drummers were called. Yet, tension filled the air. Every sound felt heavy. On the eve of the wedding, Chief Nwanebuike sat alone outside, staring into the night. Chinyere approached him slowly. "Father," she said softly. He did not turn. "I thank you," she continued, "for hearing my heart." He sighed deeply. "I am not losing you," he said. "I am learning to let you go." She knelt and rested her head near his feet. That night, Umulokpa slept with one eye open. The sun rose early on the wedding day. Its light spread gently over Umulokpa, touching roofs, trees, and faces. It was a bright day, but the village was quiet at first, as if everyone was waiting to be sure this was real. Then the drums began, slow at first, then louder, then joyful. People stepped out of their houses in disbelief. Chief Nwanebuike's daughter was getting married. It was something no one thought they would ever see. Women filled the air with songs. Men gathered under trees, talking in low voices. Children ran around laughing, unaware of the fear that once ruled this day. In the palace compound, Chinyere sat in a small room with Adamma and Nwama. She was dressed simply but beautifully. Her skin glowed, her eyes were calm but deep. Adamma held her hands. "You are brave," she said. Nwama smiled through tears. "You taught us that fear can be faced." Chinyere shook her head. "I did not do this alone." Emeka arrived with his people. He stood tall, dressed neatly, his face steady. When he saw Chinyere, his heart almost failed him. She walked slowly toward him. Every step felt like a victory. Chief Nwanebuike stood watching. The drums slowed. The village held its breath. Then the chief stepped forward. He raised his staff, not in anger this time, but in blessing. "Today," he said, his voice clear, "I give my daughter willingly." A sound rose from the crowd. Joy, shock, relief. The marriage rites were completed. Palm wine was shared. Goats were slaughtered. Laughter filled the compound. Chinyere and Emeka were joined as one. As the sun began to set, Chief Nwanebuike stood alone again. But this time, he was not empty. Adamma and Nwama stood beside him. "My daughters," he said quietly, "when your time comes, I will listen." They hugged him tightly. Fear had loosened its grip. That night, Umulokpa celebrated. And though life continued with new challenges ahead, one truth remained. Love had spoken, and even the hardest heart had listened.